Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, and thank you for stopping by. Alright, guys, for this episode of the Bullet Points this morning, I want to walk you through something else that was in this decision. This was a consenting opinion. This is from Alito. Now, Alito wrote this in the decision of Bruen last night and basically added on to what Thomas said. Now, the reason that I'm going to hit on this is because he quite literally dispels every single gun control myth, every single gun control talking point in an existing SCOTUS decision. This is incredible and going to have ramifications going forward as we march together for our rights on the Second Amendment to pass them on to the next generation. Now, everything is going to be linked in the description box below, and I want to let you guys know, tonight I'm going to do a live stream at 8 p.m. per normal, but an hour earlier, and then I'm going to do a normal 9 p.m. video. So it's going to be a heavy day, and I'll see you guys at 8 p.m., which will lead into the 9 p.m. video drop. There's just so much going on, and tonight we're going to talk about the Senate deal, what's happened, what's passed, what are the likely impacts of the SCOTUS decision, all these different things, but we're going to dive in together because we are going to make the difference for our rights in the end. Now, like I said, everything is linked in the description box below. We are always trying to earn that subscription, so if you find value, please go ahead and join the fold because we need as many people as possible. But now, let's get it. Let me walk you through what Alito did here. Now, this is incredibly important, and tell me in the comments field when you start to hear common gun control bullet points that are blown away by a sitting Supreme Court justice in a written opinion. Check this out. In light of what we have actually held, it is hard to see what legitimate purpose can possibly be served by most of the dissent's lengthy introductory section. So he just completely demolishes the dissent written by Justice Breyer. Why, for example, does the dissent think it's relevant to recount the mass situations that have occurred in recent years? Does the dissent think that laws like New York's prevent or deter such atrocities? Will a person bent on carrying out a mass situation be stopped if he knows that it is illegal to carry a handgun outside the home? So right there, you have all of these laws in place. Why haven't they stopped existing atrocities before? Do you really think that someone is going to say, hey, I'm going to commit an atrocity, but it's illegal? The whole point here is Alito is hitting on the fact that laws don't stop criminals, they only stop the law-abiding. And by definition, a criminal breaks the laws. It's a cyclical argument that makes no sense. Let's continue. And how does the dissent account for the fact that one of the mass situations near the top of its list took place in Buffalo? The New York law at issue in this case obviously did not stop the perpetrator, directly calling out the Sullivan law, which is the point of this whole case, as ineffective. Alito is wrapping everything up in a your laws don't work nice little package, and he's even calling Breyer out on it. What is the relevance of statistics about the use of guns to commit suicide? A main talking point of the left. 2/3 of gun violence that they try to pitch you is suicide. In fact, if you back that out on the numbers, it's a thing. But let's stick to it. Does the dissent think that a lot of people who possess guns in their homes will be stopped or deterred from shooting themselves if they cannot lawfully take them outside? Brutal fact and logic. Break that down. I have very concerning thoughts. I have mental health care issues. I have some things that I need help with. So I'm not going to do certain actions that are terrible because it's against the law to take it outside the home. It makes zero sense, but that's one of their bullet points. They ride on emotion. It doesn't go off of logic. The dissent cites statistics on children and adolescents killed by guns. But what does this have to do with the question whether an adult who is licensed to possess a handgun may be prohibited from carrying it outside the home? Basically, Alito is going, that's completely irrelevant. Not to mention the fact that that study that they're citing has to do with 18, 19, 21-year-olds, 20, 21-year-olds, not children. But we're going to sidestep that because we've done videos on that. But he's flat out saying, your argument makes no sense. You're talking about an orange when we're talking about an apple. That's incredibly important to understand. Our decision, as noted, does not expand the categories of people who may lawfully possess a gun, and federal law generally forbids the possession of a handgun by a person who is under the age of 18. And bars the sale of a handgun to anyone under the age of 21, so he pours more chocolate sauce on this dessert sundae. What is the point if you're saying that children are the issue, and this is their argument that they made? If children already can't possess guns, your argument kind of falls flat because they're violating laws already. What does that have to do with a legal adult standing with their rights in the Second Amendment? It doesn't, but it's still one of the heartstring arguments that they try to pull. Here we go, let's keep going because this is fun. And while the dissent seemingly thinks that the ubiquity of guns and our country's high level of gun violence provide reasons for sustaining the New York law, The dissent appears not to understand that it is these very facts that cause law-abiding citizens to feel the need to carry a gun for self-defense. He's basically turning their argument on themselves. It's the worst thing in the world. There's so many guns. Gun violence is everywhere. It's prevalent. It's the worst time in the world. Then we need guns to protect ourselves. The whole point is the gun control argument falls apart when you actually apply logic to it. You strip out the emotion, you get the logic, and then you get to cases like Bruen, which completely undermine all the gun control built on emotional facts and not statistics and facts. That's incredibly important because he's making the argument for us. This last one, no one apparently knows how many of the 400 million privately held guns are in the hands of criminals. But there can be little doubt that many muggers and rapists are armed and are undeterred by the Sullivan Law. Translation: laws don't work against criminals. Each year, the New York City Police Department confiscates thousands of guns, and it is fair to assume that the number of guns seized is a fraction of the total number held unlawfully. The police cannot disarm every person who acquires a gun for use in criminal activity, nor can they provide bodyguard protection for the state's nearly 20 million residents, or the 8.8 million people who live in New York City. Again, translation: you can't protect them, they need to have the right to protect themselves. If all of these guns are in gun-free zones and they're still having them, they need to have a way to defend themselves. Alito goes into this, and he tears apart the dissenting opinion written by Justice Breyer that all the arguments make no sense. Now, what does this have to do with our everyday argument for gun control and gun rights? The point is, you've now got this written in a written opinion by a sitting Supreme Court justice, which can be referred to in other cases. This is now something that can be utilized to undermine gun control further and further and further because it's actually in the opinion. They did a phenomenal job. From Thomas to Alito, they covered almost all the bases. Not all of them, but I'd give them a good 9 out of 10. And that's what I wanted to cover for you this morning. Now make sure you are there for the 8 p.m. live segment tonight, and then the 9 p.m. video that I'm preparing for you today. And I hope to see you then. Have a great day. See you tonight.